Winnie the Pooh. Written by A. Milne. Illustrated by Ernest H. Shepard. Chapter 2, in which Pooh goes visiting and gets into a tight place. Edward Bear, known to his friends as Winnie the Pooh, or Pooh for short, was walking through the forest one day humming proudly to himself. He had made up a little hum that very morning as he was doing his stoutness exercises in front of the glass. Tra-la-la, tra-la-la, as he stretched up as high as he could go, and then tra-la-la, tra-la, oh help-la, as he tried to reach his toes. After breakfast, he had said it over and over to himself until he had learnt it off by heart, and now he was humming it right through properly. It went like this. Tra-la-la, 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 rum-tum, tiddle-lum-tum, tiddle-liddle, 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 rum-tum-tum, tiddle-lum. Well, he was humming this hum to himself and walking along gaily, wondering what everyone else was doing, and what it felt like being somebody else, when suddenly he came to a sandy bank, and in the bank was a large hole. Said Pooh. Rum-tum, tiddle-lum-tum.
If I know anything about anything, that hole means rabbit,
He said.
and rabbit means company,
He said.
and company means food, and listening to me humming and such like. Rum-tum-tum, tiddle-lum.
So he bent down, put his head into the hole, and called out,
Is anybody at home?
There was a sudden scuffling noise from inside the hole, and then silence.
What I said was, is anybody at home?
Called out Pooh very loudly. No, said a voice, and then added, You needn't shout so loud. I heard you quite well the first time.
Bother,
Said Pooh.
isn't there anybody here at all?
Nobody. Winnie the Pooh took his head out of the hole and thought for a little and said to himself,
There must be somebody there, because somebody must have said nobody.
So he put his head back into the hole and said,
Hello, Rabbit. Is that you?
No, said Rabbit in a different sort of voice this time.
But isn't that Rabbit's voice?
I don't think so. Isn't meant to be,
Oh,
said Pooh. He took his head out of the hole and had another think, and then he put it back and said,
well, could you very kindly tell me where Rabbit is?
He has gone to see his friend Pooh Bear, who is a great friend of his,
But this is me.
said Bear, very much surprised. What sort of me?
Pooh Bear.
Are you sure? Said Rabbit, still more surprised.
Quite sure.
Said Pooh. Oh, well, then, come in. So Pooh pushed and pushed and pushed his way through the hole, and at last he got in. You were quite right, said Rabbit, looking at him all over. It is you. Glad to see you.
Well, who did you think it was?
Well, I wasn't sure. You know how it is in the forest. One can't have anyone coming into one's house. One has to be careful. What about a mouthful of something? Pooh always liked to have something at 11 o'clock in the morning, and he was very glad to see Rabbit getting out the plates and mugs. And when Rabbit said, Honey, or condensed milk with your bread, he was so excited that he said,
Oh,
and then, so not as to seem greedy, he added,
but don't bother about the bread, please.
And for a long time after that, he said nothing, until at last, humming to himself in a rather sticky voice, he got up, shook Rabbit lovingly by the paw, and said that he must be going. Must you? Said Rabbit politely.
Well,
Said Pooh,
I could stay a little longer if you...
and he tried very hard to look in the direction of the larder. As a matter of fact, said Rabbit, I was going out myself directly.
Oh, well then, I'll be going on. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye. If you're sure you won't have any more.
Is there any more?
Asked Pooh quickly. Rabbit took the covers off the dishes and said, No, there wasn't.
I thought not,
Said Pooh, nodding to himself.
Well, goodbye. I must be going on.
So he started to climb out of the hole. He pulled with his front paws and pushed with his back paws, and in a little while his nose was out in the open again. And then his ears, and then his front paws, and then his shoulders, and then...
Oh, help,
said Pooh.
I'd better go back. Oh, bother,
said Pooh.
I shall have to go on. I can't do either,
said Pooh.
and oh, help and bother.
Now by this time Rabbit wanted to go for a walk too, and finding the front door full, he went out the back door and came around to Pooh and looked at him. Hello, are you stuck? He asked.
No,
said Pooh carelessly.
just resting and thinking and humming to myself.
Here, give us a paw. Pooh Bear stretched out a paw, and Rabbit pulled and pulled and pulled.
Oh,
Cried Pooh.
you're hurting.
The fact is, said Rabbit, you're stuck.
It all comes
Said Pooh crossly.
from not having front doors big enough.
It all comes, said Rabbit sternly, of eating too much. I thought at the time, said Rabbit, only I didn't like to say anything, said Rabbit. Now one of us was eating too much, said Rabbit. And if I knew it wasn't me, he said, well, I shall go and fetch Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin lived in the other end of the forest, and when he came back with Rabbit and saw the front half of Pooh, he said, Silly old bear, in such a loving voice that everyone felt quite hopeful again.
I was just beginning to think,
Said Bear, sniffling slightly.
that Rabbit might never be able to use his front door again, and I should hate that.
Said. So should I, said Rabbit. Use his front door again, said Christopher Robin. Of course he'll use his front door again. Good, said Rabbit. If we can't pull you out, Pooh, we might push you back. Rabbit scratched his whiskers thoughtfully and pointed out that when once Pooh was pushed back, he was back, and of course no one was more glad to see Pooh than he was. Still, there it was. Some lived in trees, some lived underground, and...
You mean I'd never get out?
said Pooh. I mean, said Rabbit, that having got so far, it seems a pity to waste it. Christopher Robin nodded. Then there's only one thing to be done, he said. We shall have to wait for you to get thin again.
How long does getting thin take?
Asked Pooh anxiously. About a week, I should think.
But I can't stay here for a week.
You can stay here all right, silly old bear. It's getting you out which is so difficult. We'll make you, said Rabbit cheerfully. And I hope it won't snow, he added. And I say, old fellow, you're taking up a good deal of room in my house. Do you mind if I use your back leg as a towel? Because, there they are, doing nothing. And it would be very convenient just to hang the towel on them.
A week?
Said Pooh gloomily.
What about meals?
I'm afraid no meals, said Mr. Robin, because of getting thin bigger. But we will be to you. Bear began sighing, and then back he couldn't because he was so tight stuck. And a tear rolled down his eyes, he said.
Then would you read a singing book, such as Help and Comfort by Bear in Great Kindness?
The work, Chris Rock read that book in the morning, and Rabbit was walking outside. And between there, Bell gave Slugger and Slugger, and the end of Chris Rock said, Ow! The whole front started to Robin, and all tried to forehead, and all together, and for a long time, Pooh said, and all up the book, and the portal out, and so Robin had all the tracks, and everything that was stuck, and all that he could do. So, all the tracks, all the
お仕事疲労困憊体はヘトヘト何か食べなきゃ体参っちまうそんな時はスパイスカレーでしょうクミンにクローブカルダモンナツメグにサフランにターメリックからのチリペッパーにコリアンダーそしてうちのリーダーはアンバサダーチャンドラリさんは左手です一緒に食べるとそれは何ですかあっちはロティこれはチャパティ見てはいますけどチャイマンネ南インドはサモサドータ熱々ドータを焼くドータ食べれば活力がみなぎり心も体もニューデリークミンクローブカルダモンナツメグにサフランにターメリッククミンクローブカルダモンナツメグにサフランにターメリッククミンクローブカルダモンナツメグにサフランにターメリッククミンクローブカルダモンナツメグにサフランにターメリック気がついたらニューデリーオーナーのダンスのデビュー芳醇なスパイスを投稿濃厚な優れた宣伝アンバサダー推奨ゲームとカレープロレスとカレーまた今週も頑張れそうだいつもゲーム ロディハハホーリーワーに観客だわ入ってくんのは川だ呪術師ブッチャー長寿ブロディアンドレは人間300長州焼けたら行ったらタイパンロンドン行ったら前田はリーパンルークアングルギミックムーブガチンコセメントさあどっちホーガン猪木に長州乱入 TPG 両国沸騰海賊出現大阪炎上天谷八百長北尾増長橋本搬送小川が暴走それがお前のやり方か札幌中島テロする藤原長州千田沼とぼとぼ藤波マシンに行っちゃうキラただろ天竜離脱で業界激震大河劇で三沢に変身鶴田締めてタップさせら超世代は首を酷使鶴田締めてタップさせら超世代は首を酷使前田ボコスフライ坂田高田キック北を気絶急に来たぞリオの家族飲んだくれた幼児二十歳勝負ドーム宝実家サクとホイスタオル飛んだ田村変ゾユーノそういやプロレス番組じゃねえよ
コリアンダーはカレーのスパイスの基本中の基本ですから今ガンジスの水我慢の飲んでますよ
そう
もっとインドのために頑張ります絶賛しといてこんな顔ある
夏目組桜にターメリッククミンクローブカルダモン夏目組桜にターメリッククミンクローブカルダモン夏目組桜にターメリッククミンクローブカルダモン夏目組桜にターメリック
気がついたニューデリー広大な感じその研究芳醇なスパイスを調合濃厚なレスグルの設定アンバサダー推奨ゲームとカレープロレスとカレーまた今週も頑張れそうだいつもゲームとカレープロレスとカレーまた今週もカレーを食べようゲームとカレープロレスとカレーまた今週も頑張れそうだいつもゲームとカレープロレスとカレーまた今週もカレーを食べようナンはおかわり自由です 「